is so hyped. That's what I love
It
about it.
is. Her music's interesting.
What's that?
Her music is really interesting.
Yes,
It's good.
she's kind of like she's all over the place. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of an intro. I haven't heard Cardi B song in so long, but welcome to the High Earning Women podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Porter, and I'm here every single week wanting to share why it's so important to make financial conversations accessible, especially for high earning women, because we're all about helping women to, first of all, unapologetically, I just love that word, unapologetically, make financial confident decisions so that they can build the life that they truly deserve. So, if you're new here, welcome to the space where high income meets high impact. And if you've been riding with us, you see me enjoying myself. You already know we love connecting music with the topic that we're going to talk about. And so you heard me say I haven't heard Cardi B in a long time, and I had to bring her out for today. Felt right. It's getting warm outside finally. Cross your fingers, cross my fingers that it stays that way. But I thought it would be great to bring her out. And the song was I Like It Like That. And of course, Cardi B's telling us how she likes it, right?
Exactly.
She's obviously a woman who knows what she wants. And I thought that would be fun to bring out since she's talking about her taste for the finer things in life. And I know so many high earning women, including myself, who can relate. So today's episode, actually, we're going to dive into something fun and incredibly powerful. And that's luxury travel, because we're talking about knowing what we want. And of course, knowing all the details of how to get what we want. So, how do we high earning women? Because I'm a financial planner and I know I'm talking about luxury and luxury travel, but at the same time, my financial planner side says we got to do this without blowing the budget. So, we're talking about how to fly first class, stay in five-star hotels, and indulge in those world class experiences you and I both love using points. So, you've been seeing my guest here, Mike, jamming with me. He's from pointspartners.ca, and he's actually a travel rewards expert. And he's going to help us. Actually, he's been helping individuals and entrepreneurs as well turn everyday spending into first class travel. So, Mike, we're really curious. Welcome to the show, first of all, and thank you for jamming with me. So curious about how you're going to be able to help us break our budget and do some luxury travel over here. So, welcome again.
Thank you.
Really
Thank,
nice to have you here.
thank you, Jacqueline. Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be here. Luxury travel, first class flights, five-star hotels. It's just what comes to me naturally, and I'm here today to share to your audience um, about how to maximize their spending, their business expenses, and the success they've been achieving into points and luxury travel. So, thank you for
Yeah,
having me.
I'm about to take some real notes. So, confidant community, make sure you've got your pen handy. Take some notes here. This is going to be some very impactful information. So, Mike, let's start with the basics. Tell me why high earning women should even care about points and travel rewards. There's so many programs out there. It's dizzying. Everybody's busy. Why should we bother?
Simply because you're leaving money on the table. When you're going out and having expenses on your credit cards for your business as a successful woman, I'm sure your expenses are high, whether that be for personal or for your business.
Right?
Um, and for your lifestyle that you're having, there's a huge opportunity to earn awards for every dollar you spend. So what that means is that you've probably heard of like cashback reward cards where you're
Right.
getting 2% cash back. You're getting something in return. But what if I told you that you can earn more than just 1, 2%? What if I told you that you could earn potentially 10, 20, 30 times the return in terms of travel? So that's what I'm here to talk about. And I think everyone who has high spending, they're leaving, I would say, upwards of hundreds of $1,000s a year, depending on what your spending is per year, that you could use to fund yourself or your employees as bonuses or what have you for travel. So Make the money work harder for you. Is
Well, I love that. You've got my attention just by working your money work harder for you. If you're going to spend the money anyway, if I'm going to spend the money, if you're going to spend the money hiring community and you could get your dollars to work harder, I'm sure you've got lots of people's attention right now because now you're spending smarter. You're not spending more money. So if that's the case, Mike, what's the first thing someone should do if they want to start optimizing their points?
Okay, well, first of all, is to have the right credit card. Um, and not all credit cards are necessarily created equal. In Canada here, there's banks just constantly bombarding us with advertisement to sign up for this credit card, for that credit card. We'll give you these Aeroplan points. We'll give you these Porter points. We'll give you American Express points.
It's
Um,
dizzying. It's
it, it,
actually dizzying.
no, it really is too. So how do you go about unraveling all that information and figuring out how to use it? But even before that, I always say, look at what is your travel goal. Some people, almost everyone, including yourself, including myself, we always have a travel goal of where we want to go, and ensuring you have the right credit card to meet your travel goals. And that's what we here at Points Partners help people, including a lot of successful women, achieve the travel dream by getting the right cards to get to the destination you want as quick as possible.
So I'd love to, I can't wait for you to break this down because I think you just mentioned the fact that, there's so many programs out there. Is it a specific company that you recommend getting your cards through, or do you take your clients through that process? How do we actually strategize so that we're actually racking up as many points as possible
That's
and using them wisely? What's the process for that?
and that's a good question, and that's exactly what we one of the key services that we provide are consulting services, and it's we take a look at what are your individual expenses. So we do an assessment of your portfolio, like just you as a whole. We look at what are your travel goals, what credit cards do you have, what points do you currently have right now, and we kind of essentially help you do kind of a rebalancing. So we take a look at, okay, I don't think this card is going to work for you. I think you should sign up for this card. We also know what are the current promotions right now that banks offer. We know that what promotions are coming out. So we do all that work, like all the information knowledge that we have in the industry for 20 years in points and miles as enthusiasts, myself and my partner. Um, we essentially assess you and then give you the best cards to get based on how your spend patterns are and everything essentially, right? So we do all the hard work for you, and yeah, that's kind of most of our clients when they first come to us. That's what they're asking for, is to help them strategize to maximize their points earned to get to their travel goals.
Okay, and you're not aligned with one company is what I'm hearing, is you're going to be a consultant looking at, okay, here's my spending patterns, here's what I like to do. So based on that, here are the cards I'd say I should be signing up for or maximizing if I already have them in my wallet, because that's a whole other
No,
process.
no, you're exactly right, right? It means if perhaps it might work best that we decide that you focus on one reward program, let's say Aeroplan,
Right.
because that's going to best suit you for your travel goals. So we take a look at all that, right? Also, I just want to just uh, mention a bit more about some of the strategies that we employ that we know about from the banks as well, right? So, if so, one thing is, if I get into a bit more detail, is optimizing category bonuses. So, uh,
Excuse me.
if you've ever seen offers from banks, they'll say, you can earn 5 times cash back on a grocery, or you can earn 3% cash back on your wireless subscription. So
I
it
never know which one to do, right? Like this is the thing.
well, and that's exactly it, right? How do you know which one to use for what? But at the end of the day, we have to put the scope into what is your travel goal. Where do you want to get to? And there's no need to get 6 or 10 different credit cards. Some people can, and if you want to manage that, we can look at that. But honestly, I would say 2 or 3 at most is what most of our clients we recommend them to get. And because they also don't want to be over, like, they don't want to be bombarded with managing all that, right? You have to pay those.
That's what I was going to say. 10, as soon as you said 10 credit cards, I just thought, oh my goodness, who wants to manage 10 credit cards? Your financial planner certainly doesn't want to help you with that. And
That's right.
you at the end of the day don't want the mental stress because it's also easy to lose these things or have them stolen.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? So and sometimes we can gauge the person as well. We have some we have a few clients who really like to geek out, and they like to, we just kind of give them a little kick to get started and kind of
I
come
see.
back to us, and they do their own spreadsheets, and they kind of take it on themselves to move further themselves, and we're just kind of a more of a consultancy services. Otherwise we can do, or otherwise we also offer like a full um uh we basically handhold them through the whole process, like up from when we first meet them to helping them book their flight, and do it again for the next time around. So it's kind of a full turnkey service is kind of what we also offer. Just depends on the client.
I see. So I think it's really important that people know that you're not aligned with any one company because there's so many strategies out there, and this is really about luxury travel hiring communities. So it's like if I want to go somewhere really nice and I don't want to spend all of my money, I want to use the money I already have to work harder to secure me the kind of travel I want. So I just came back from my trip myself where I was sitting beside, I was not in luxury travel. I was sitting beside somebody who was not well, who was hacking through the flight. And I was
Oh
like, oh
wow.
no, I'm in the middle seat. I'm in that non luxury. You do not want to be me this summer. Ironing community. What you want is to figure out how you can be in the not cheap seats because I'm a cheapskate and do
Better
the
for home,
luxury.
baby.
But I think that there's lots of mistakes because, again, there's a myriad of programs out there. So let's talk a little bit about some of the biggest mistakes that people make when trying to make the most of points. 'Cause I've certainly made them, and I was in the cheap seats. So there you go.
So, okay, so you you want me to talk about that, because I've heard some wild
Ah,
stories here,
please, please
but
share.
sure.
This is like a sacred community. It's just between you and me and our community. That
Okay.
we keep secrets. We do. You can
So
trust us.
the biggest mistake people make is when they're focused on earning airline points, and they're redeeming for toasters. And I use the analogy of a toasters so much, just because it's just funny, and people do that. They redeem for actual merchandise, and you know who the winner is? It's not you. It's the banks that are making that are winning here, because when you when you're redeeming your points, especially airline points, which hold so much value, or even American Express membership reward points, and when you're redeeming them at, say, 0.3 cents per point, um, it's not you that won, it's them, right? So
Oh man.
you know what I'm saying? And I always tell people, well, you spent, let's say, $50,000, and no, no, let's not say 50,000. Let's take a real example. Let's say you spent $150,000, you've earned 150,000 points, and you redeemed for a Dyson vacuum. It's nice, no doubt about it. How much does it cost? $7,800,
Yeah.
right? So about, zero point 0.5 cents per point you redeem that. Well, the
Right.
150,000 points, you can get a round trip anywhere in the world in business class that will go upwards to, let's say, $15,000 if you're going to go to Australia. So what have
What?
you what have you
What?
yeah, so what have you gained more? The $1,500 on a Dyson vacuum, or 15,000 on a flight, right? So that's the analogy I use, right? And that is the simplest analogy. Um, and once people realize that, that's when I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well maybe I can do something more with this. So that's
Yeah, again, it's because it's a lack of education around how to maximize points. I mean, we talk about financial literacy education, but points literacy, I feel like I'm not illiterate enough to know how do I stretch my points to get as much out of it as possible. Definitely, I don't want to be the toaster person because I feel like anybody, you can buy your own toaster on Amazon or wherever, right? Yeah, I mean the Dyson vacuum, okay, it's a nice vacuum, but if you're competing with a Dyson vacuum versus going to Australia, I mean there's no competition, right?
right. Exactly, exactly. And the thing is that I've also heard stories that people try to use your points for travel. So they actually make an effort to say, okay, I want to go see my family out west for let's say for the holidays. But they can never find any award availability, so they give up and go buy merchandise with the points.
That's probably me because you don't like if you I have points through Visa Infinite, and I feel like if I go and want to book something and I talk to an agent, they don't really give me a lot of education about my options. And I look at the points I have, and I'm like, oh, I have lots of points. And then by the time it translates into a flight, I feel like the cheap sheet I just told you about. I've been shortchanged, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And the most difficult part is not so much earning. So sure, we help clients earn. That's just the first step. The redemption is where people have the most trouble. And the more aspirational you want your redemption, the more difficult it becomes to find that award space. And that is one of our key services that we provide and that we help people is to actually book their flights because it's difficult. I had a client last week. They want to go to India for, this summer to visit some family. There were six of them, and they were living in Miami. So we're talking 2 months before departure. They're not finding anything. They don't want to spend six
Yeah,
thousand.
that's
Right? Um,
thank you. That's what
yeah,
I'm into. It's not like I plan travel, years ahead. So
well, that's exactly, and that's what we do. We help people to uh, uh, book flights and awards, and sometimes it's not always possible. Sometimes you have to be flexible, but that is one of our prime businesses that we do. And at the end of the day, if we can't help you, we let you know, and we tell you, okay, for next time, this is how you can make it happen, right? So, I won't get into too much of that detail of how because that this is one part that I love, and especially when I book clients to first class, and we work together to make that happen. And when it does happen, they're so happy. So
oh,
anyway,
I'm sure because I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that probably other than the toaster, like wasting your points on the toaster, I think the second thing that people don't get wrong, and I get wrong, is how I redeem the points to make the most of them. And I don't think people really think about it because they might be doing it from one portal. And so they think that's the only way to redeem their points. They might
right?
not even know there are a whole myriad of ways,
Yes,
but I'm
exactly,
hearing
exactly.
from you that they can redeem their points.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you one quick example.
Please.
We were at we were at a trade show where we had a booth set up, and we actually had RBC Royal Bank who actually came by, and it was a personal finance a manager who works on one of the branches. Um, they had no idea that their in-house Avion RBC Avion points, which I'm sure you've heard of.
That's the one I have. I'm listening, Sash.
Yeah, okay.
Keep going.
And they had no idea that you could transfer those points over to American Airlines, and from there you could book something like Qatar Airways first class, which has like a quad business class cabin, and go to the Maldives, for example. They had no idea that was even possible. So you when you talk about the lack of education, it's even amongst the people who work for the product themselves, right?
No,
So
that's what I'm talking about. I just finished telling you, I'm still, getting over the trauma of being in the cheap seat. Okay, so
that's all
the
right.
more you tell me, this more traumatized I become. Please tell me one of your biggest success stories. I mean, let's continue this on a more positive note as I deal with regret. Tell me some of your success
Sure,
stories.
sure.
People
Okay,
who
okay.
have taken
For
advantage
sure.
of some of these,
Um,
these optimization programs.
yeah, no, I absolutely. So, probably, I mean, I travel quite a bit, so maybe I'll talk a bit more about some of my clients' special bookings that we accomplished, which I've also done as well. So I'm more of a flight guy. I actually get satisfaction in the journey sometimes more than destination. So I love doing the first class flights and stuff. I would say I guess one of my most recent ones was flying Air France La Première first class. It's considered like the most luxurious first class travel there is, where it's close to private travel as much as you can get, whereby you're transported by limo on the tarmac to the flight in and out. You have a special lounge area, special immigration. Was basically it's a complete independent of the rest of the terminal, and it's an exclusivity which that you get from an experience like that, which only celebrities usually get. We don't get that opportunity to. So being able to do that, and
Come
also,
again? Walk me through that. That sounded extremely intriguing,
okay,
as a
so
travel experience.
yeah, so actually, it was back in March, and it was for my family. Actually, we were coming back from Rome, back to Canada, and so what we had basically was that when we flew, it was just a normal flight from Air France from Rome to Paris. As soon as we landed, we were sitting up in business class at the time for that little flight, but basically we were taken off the flight first, right down a ramp and right into a limo. This is like on the tarmac, and we were driven a few kilometers away to this building where it's just for first class travelers, and it's basically a lounge and immigration, everything, right? So everything's taken care of. You don't even lift your bag or anything. And same thing, we hung out there, took a shower, there's free massage. They actually have the Michelin star dining as well there. And then when it was time to go, the same thing. They drove us back to our next flight, which was going across the Atlantic. We boarded after everyone else has, so we never saw anyone behind us. And it was just a four-person cabin, and it was a three, and it was just three of us, and the other seat was empty. So we had like a whole cabin on this 777 in front. And yeah, it was just fantastic. So
Wow. So,
yeah,
ladies, are you listening to this? Would you like to be escorted off the flight first? A limo picks you up. You get a chance to have a Michelin star meal, maybe a little massage, relax. That's the kind of experiences that leveraging your points can
yeah.
give you. The one thing I was going to ask you, Sash, is does this, are there opportunities to leverage your points for accommodations as well?
I was just going to get to that as well.
Mhm.
So the biggest one people ask us, and maybe it's because we have an advertisement on a board when we go to trade shows, is they want to go to Maldives. Maybe it's those overwater villas, David,
Yes, yes, I've seen those
and,
Instagram posts
and
as well.
it's always the women that catch your eye. So we have a lot of couples, a husband and wife, the business owners. They're walking through the shows. They come to us and they're like, "Hey, honey, can you take a look at this? What is this, right?" And it's something about the attraction there of staying in an overwater bungalow with your own pool and stuff. So these go from $3 to $4 to $5,000 a night, right? Um, which is absurd. I mean, even for high income, successful people, that's still a lot of money. And
Yeah, it is.
even if you have the money, is it worth? And if you're going to Maldives, which is like a 14-hour flight, do you really want to spend like $25,000 for 5 nights, even if you can't afford it, right? So,
Exactly.
right, and so for those aspirational hotel stays, those accommodations, yes, that is also what we do. We help people get the right credit cards. For example, there's some Marriott Bonvoy credit cards in Canada. How do you optimize those? Where can you transfer points, like transferable currencies, like American Express membership reward points, for example? Those can transfer into different hotel programs. So, and it comes all right back to Jacqueline, is what is your travel goal? Do you want, so if they tell us, okay, we want to go to the Maldives in a year. So, okay, so we're going to work on a hotel, we're going to work on a flight, and we're going to work backwards from there. We're going to tell you what credit cards to get, and we're going to achieve those dreams for you.
I actually love this. I mean, as a planner and a if I'm honest, a cheapskate, I love the idea of being able to leverage spending I was going to spend anyway,
Yeah,
and then turn it around and have it used for something I would love, which is better experiences. And I know a number of hiring women who are listening to this podcast feel the very same way. How can I make the most of money I'm going to spend anyway, especially for experiences that I want? So less comes out of my investment accounts and goes towards my can go towards my future while I still have those experiences. But the money I'm spending anyway can also be used to towards those experiences and work harder for those experiences. So I love all the things you're saying there, and I guess on that note, I would love to know three actionable things that steps that you think that this community can take so they can get more out of their points right now.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, so I would say, first of all, audit your spending. Maybe first think about where are most of your expenses going to? Like, just think categorically, even, right? Like, for restaurants, for taking clients out, or you're buying a raw material, for example, for something. Just kind of get a feel for what that is, and that's some of the information that we require when we help clients. So audit your spending there. Um, there's a saying that a lot of people say, stick to one point system ecosystem, right? So there's American Express, which is so not American Express. I'll say Aeroplan. Everyone knows Aeroplan. Even if people
Right,
who aren't into points know about Aeroplan, right?
right.
Um, so it's not always wise to necessarily choose one points ecosystem, but it might be. But if you're not sure about, if you're really new to this, just pick one for now until someone like us can help you. Just because if you're splitting your, if you're earning a little bit of points here, a little bit of points here, a little bit of points there, you're just not going to have enough in total
Ex-
to do anything with.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like over diversifying, really.
exactly it, right? And I would say that for someone like myself, I do over diversify, but you have to know then how are you going to use those funds in different, those funds being those points in those different reward programs. So, um, and then and the third thing is really book a strategy session. Come to us and we'll help you strategize on how to maximize your points and how to maximize your spending. This is what we love to do. And yeah, that's it. Really.
Yeah, I just love the idea of figuring out how to play the points game because I don't think a lot of us know how to play that game. And it's concerning and alarming actually that the individuals who work at banks and credit card companies who offer points don't seem to have any understanding of the points game either. So I highly recommend Confidant High Earning Community book a session with Mike. I've booked a session with Mike because I'm like, I'm going to spend the money on my business. I'm going to spend the money on my personal anyway. Why not have that money already allocated help me to stretch my experiences, my travel experiences further without me having to take that much more money out of my pocket? Do you feel the same way? Then definitely you should head to pointspartner.ca to get more information about how to build out some of these custom travel plans. Because, Mike, honestly, this has been such a fun and enlightening conversation. And I definitely will put in the show notes how people can find you because it's really important, especially as we go into like high travel season. I'm sure, hopefully, it's not too late. It's always never too late because there's also the fall and the winter that unfortunately is going to come again
Yeah.
and you'll have an opportunity to take this time to have that session with Mike and figure out how to strategize for your points going into the summer. So definitely I highly recommend that. And I think as a financial planner I would be remiss if I didn't say it's a great way for you to not just put your travel on your credit card and not have a strategy on how you're going to pay it off and not even really know if you're using that particular credit card to build points. So definitely recommend talking to Mike. Mike, thank you so much. This was amazing. I mean,
Exactly.
why
Thanks.
settle for economy like what I did? Look what happened to me. You don't want to be
I
me.
know.
You
No, I
know?
know. I know. And
When
yeah,
you can fly first class on points. Don't be me in the cheap middle seat. It's terrible. I'm still getting over whatever I got on that flight.
yeah, we
But
need to.
honestly, so definitely look up ways you can fly first class on points. And if you got anything out of this episode, if you loved it, if you took notes on how you can make the most out of points, and you found this useful, please subscribe. Please leave a review. And honestly, share this with someone who you think would get a lot out of this because they love to travel. Until next time, this was such a fun episode, as I said. Remember, money is power, and knowing how to use money gives you power, and you deserve to own your own power. So keep building, keep earning, and keep living the life you want. Until next time, high earning community. Thanks again for being here, Mike. I will be sharing this widely.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I had a wonderful time. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good one. Bye
Thank you.
now.